In this video, I'm going to show you different ways on how to tune the kick drum to your bass line. This is helpful because it makes your tracks sound more coherent when your bass is in tune with your kick. I was getting this wrong for a long time and my mixers were sounding weird. It also helps when you're EQing as well, knowing different harmonics and stuff. So, right, I'll show you different ways on different software. The first one I've got here is a synth kick by Nicky Remero. Download this from sonicacademy.com. It's quite a versatile synth kick. You could quite design your kicks really good in this program. So first off, we'll just play it. You tune your kick. This is the tuning of the kick here. You've got your initial transient, your body, and then your sub bass. So I've tuned all of them to A, apart from the click where it's okay to have that different. But this is main. All these three have got to be the same. So this kick will be tuned in A. This could also be proven by another program that you could download for free, which is by Voxengo Span. It's called. It's like an equalizer that shows you the initial the notes which are being played at. Just play the kick and see what we could. It's best to put the mode onto high resolution so you could get more of a specific. Put it on hold. Turn the kick off. So you can see the highest peak on this graph is A1. So that just proves to us here that we've got our kick tuned to what we want it to be tuned at. So we've got our kick tuned at A. This is proven by this program, which is really helpful. That one way to do it is from a synth kick program, or if you don't want to download external programs, you could use Alt Repeat, which is comes with Logic Pro. So open up Alt Repeat here, play this kick I've got here. As you can see, there's two keynotes playing here. One I've got for the transient and one for the body. But you can see here, this is the tuning of the kick, which is A2 for the body. You solo that, and the transient's the same. You hear that change in the pitch. It's best to keep them both the same. Sometimes it's like you could work with different tunings and stuff, but a rule of thumb, keep them the same. It makes them sound a lot better. So that's how you tune your kicks within Alt Repeat. I quite like this setup. This is quite a standard kick for EDM house tracks. I like to start off with this one. Just a 909 and the lo-fi kick from the kick bank. You could find it in Drum Bank's kick bank. And then you just set it up on the piano roll, 4 to the floor or whatever you're making. Yeah. And that's another way to do your kicks within Alt Repeat, within Logic's standard programs. That's how you tune them. And again, if you wanted to double check that your kicks are actually pitching the way they should be, you download this program, Span, and we'll see again. So yeah, I've only got that one soloed. And make sure to put this to high res so you can see the initial transient is. Hold. See where that drops at. Okay, so you can see at the bottom, on the bottom bar there, it's 54.5 hertz. A1 minus 15 cent away from A1, which it's just quite specific, but it's A1 regardless, which is quite good. And if you move down onto the lower region, it'll the tuning move to the top. As you can see, it's at the top, but it's a good indication to show you what your tuning's at. It just reassures you you've got it in the right region, the right frequency it should be. Okay, so that's Alt Repeat. But some or most producers like to use audio samples, and getting your pitch from an audio sample could be quite difficult if you don't know what you're doing. So I've got an beat, well, a sample made here that I've bounced down. It's a 909 kick. So I've got a span on it to see initially what the pitch is, and also if I need to change the pitch to A or whatever pitch you want it to be at. Usually it's A or C, and these pitches are quite good with kicks. So we'll play the kick and see where it goes. Yeah, it's on high res, so we'll see. Hold. We're on A again, A1, 54.5 hertz. And also for it shows you the hertz. That's quite good to show you what to boost and what to take out when you're EQing kicks and bass. You know, so if your kick was topping out at 54.5, you'd maybe boost 54. Bring it down to 50, 55 or whatever. Boost that a little, and then your bass was playing at the second transient of A, which would be A2, and that's at 107. Take 107 out, and vice versa for your bass. So it would you would let both of them shine through, also with compression and stuff as well. But how you actually pitch shift your audio file, you use a program within Logic, an insert. You go to pitch shifter, and open that up, which is just a small little insert window here, but it's quite effective. I'll open it up again just to show you guys where to start. So pitch shifter, mono. Obviously you want your drums, well, your kick drum to be in mono anyway, so you get the full effects. It's right in the middle, the same energy on both sides. You always want your kick drums in mono. So first thing you want to do is turn the mix up to 100% and turn your semitones down to 0. So it's whatever the kick is at when you've loaded it into the DAW, that's what it'll be. Okay, so I think it's A anyway. You also want to click drums here, this little tab, which is like a extended options. Timing, set that to pitch tracking, delay it as low as it could go, and crossfade to 0. So we'll check, see what frequency our kick's at. Right, so we're at A1. Okay, so you could change this. Say if you wanted to get your track to a C, if you were writing your track in a C, you would want to shift it up 3 semitones. If you look at your keyboard, which I'm doing right now, you could see that there's 3 semitones in between A and C. Okay, so keep that in mind, 3 semitones, and it shows here the first option we've got is semitones. So 1 semitone would be an A sharp, 2 semitones would be a B, and 3 would be C. So since we've turned it up to 3, we'll see if it corresponds on span, to see if that the initial transient is a C. So okay, maybe not. Something's done correctly. Hold on. Something I've not done. It's because span's before it, I think. So we'll open up span now. Okay, maybe not. Well, okay, well that puts that method out the window, but it does change it as you could hear it. You could hear the subtle difference. So that's at C now. definitely. Whoa, so weird with that. Turn that EQ. Ah, there we go. For some reason, it's actually worked now. That's fine. Maybe the EQ was go off, but as you can see now, we've put it up 3 semitones. Still at 3 semitones, up from the original A. It's better not be going back to A, that would be annoying. But as you can see, it's at C now, that's what you're wanting it at if you're writing your track in C. So using the pitch shifter in this way is good for when you've loaded audio samples and you want to change the pitch to whatever is needed. That's another way to deal with audio samples. I've also got a kick loaded up in the EXS24 here. Open up your EXS24, pick your drums, single drums, or drums you like. I've got one loaded. It's quite a quiet drum. And how you do this one is you actually go into the piano roll and you use the nodes on the piano roll to pick your note. As you can see when I'm left clicking here, you can see A0, but we'll keep it at A. You can also just change the octaves of this for whatever type of kick you're wanting, but this is quite an easy way to know which tuning your kick is in. And we'll just check this with span, make sure it's an A. Yeah, it's an A, which is good, just proves to us that it's actually that. We'll move it up to a C and hopefully it works this time. Better work this time. Right. Okay, so that's changed to a C. So that just proves that is actually correspondent to the pitch shifting. So it's the piano roll you use in the EXS24 for the pitch changes with your kicks. And lastly, if you've got battery, this works in a similar way to using the pitch shifting insert that you've got. Doesn't matter where you've got it on. Well, where you've got it on a piano roll corresponds to which sample you're playing. So you can't do the tuning like that on battery. So we'll see which one we've got playing here. This kick here. See, I've got span opened up on most of these just so you could prove to yourself that you're on the right tuning. That shows to me that it's A, or oh no, actually it's not A. It's G sharp. So what we need to do with that is you've got a little tuning button here, and 0.00 ST. ST stands for semitones. So if we go look back at your keyboard, or if you know off by heart, what you're needing to make that G sharp and A is only actually one semitone. So we just drag this up to one semitone, and this will make this an A. Now if we click hold on span, turn this off, we'll see where this peaks should be an A, which it is now, whereas it was G sharp before. So now that you've turned that up one semitone, that's taken it up from G sharp to A. So all your kicks will be set at A, and this is proven by Span, which is a free, great program to use if you're confused with your tunings. Also helps you EQ quite well if you know your second and third harmonics and stuff. I'll show you another thing to download from the internet. I'll turn these off just now. What I keep handy is the frequency and notes chart. What this is basically just tells you what at every note it tells you the frequency of what it should be played at. So our A1 was 54.5 on span. As you can see, A1 here is 55. So it's relatively the same, which is good if you're wanting to have your kick drum say at 55 then your bass at the second octave of A, which is 110, and then so on and so forth. That's really helpful, and that gives you good headroom and makes everything sound really coherent. Okay, so I'll just play it with a bass. I've got a little bass here, and I'll tune the kicks up and down to show you how different it sounds with an untuned kick and a tuned kick. Use Nicky Remero's here. I've got this bass tuned in A, and you tune this the same way if you're using a synth. You tune it the same way as if you were using the EXS24 by the piano roll. And as you can see, when you left click this, you can see it's A2. And if you remember, A2 on that little chart I showed you was 110. Shelf. Turn this up a wee bit. Turn it down to 110. And that's where we should be getting our peaks on this EQ, probably. We'll turn on the analyzer. Let's see. Okay, well, that's the second transient, as you can see, and that's the first. But the first transient of A is where our kick is. We don't want that. Take some of that out. Take that out. So what was it? 55. There. Cut the Q a little bit. Just subtle little EQ boosts and fractions work well with making off bass. So both of them are playing A each time, off bass and downbeats or off beats, and it sounds quite good. But if you were to change the notes of the kick, it wouldn't sound good. So I'll play all these kicks, and they all sound in A. Can't really hear that one. So it's quite good. It's quite good. So we'll change the pitch to a D, for example. Change all these to a D. See what it sounds like. See, that's just, and that, like, straight away it sounds really bad to the ears. You know, in some cases it would work, but not this. Like, okay, we'll change it to a C. Even though C and A are kind of, they work together. It's okay, it sounds alright, but as you can hear, as I'm changing it, it's just that you can hear it so much smoother. You know, it sounds a lot better and just in sync with each other, rather. Yeah, so hopefully these different methods of using different tracks or audio files and how to tune them differently and prove that tuning by using Span, Voxengo, just type that in or whatever search engine, and it's a free download, whatever you use, Mac or PC. Well, if you were using PC, you wouldn't be using Logic, but you get my point. Yeah, so hopefully I helped you guys show you the importance of having your kick drum tuned to your bass and vice versa, and yeah, thanks very much. Yeah.